Oh wait, here, hold
Do
on.
you want to
Oh,
have
I
Twitch
see it now.
open, or
Yeah,
will you be able to see the
maybe
chat on your computer?
I'm gonna. Oh, here's what I'll do. Oh, I'm an idiot.
This is the Pinemen.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Pinemen. Uh,
Hello, Matthew. Did
how's
you
it going?
know that the bourgeoisie is unfit to rule because it is incompetent to assure an existence to its slave within his slavery, because it cannot help letting him sink into such a state that it has to feed him instead of being fed by him?
I was familiar with the concept, but you put it in such a way that I don't think I can ignore it anymore. I mean, it's staring me right in the face now.
Dude, when I read that line, I'm like, that's a good way to put it.
My eyes have been opened.
I mean, the Communist Manifesto is definitely an interesting book to check out for all of those who have yet to check it out.
I'm one of those people who have yet to check it out in any meaningful way. Just listen to it in audio form a little bit, but never really dove into it. But you've been
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah, I feel like we've talked about communist ideas enough to give it the attention that it deserves.
I respect that.
You know, I mean, communism, right?
Right.
Whether or not it functions as a government, it's still up in the air, it seems. But
It's been
conceptually,
debated, I think, a few
yeah, I've heard
times.
people talk about
Sorry, I'm a little I just wanted to double check to make sure everything's good. I think it is. So,
it. Cool, yeah.
yeah, so it's interesting. Um I find it really cool that you're the one getting into it cuz when we first started doing this at all, um you were like a little bit more like challenging some of the things that I was saying based off of things that like are inspired by Karl Marx, I guess. But I need to, I really need to step it up because you have, you got all the info now. Well, a lot more of it, and
Yeah, it's funny that things with, like, if I disagree with something or feel like I disagree with something, I need to know all about it.
that's probably the best way to be. I mean,
Yeah, and to be fair, like, I wouldn't consider myself a communist by any stretch of the imagination, but I would also say that I don't disagree fully.
yeah, right. Hey, it's, just exploring. That's all it is. And
Yeah,
I respect
I
that.
still, yeah, I still fully believe that, like, the the next thing is unnamed so far.
Yeah, I can understand that completely. And like I do agree that even if it is, even if people want to call it socialism or communism or whatever, uh, anything post-capitalist or whatever, it's
Yeah.
like, uh, I don't think it will look like the USSR or whatever or China,
Hmm.
which I mean that's a whole nother thing. I don't even that's obviously not. I don't know, whatever. Just a lot of people have a hard time understanding that just because something has the word a government has the word communist party in the name doesn't mean that they're living in a socialist or communist society for real. You know what I mean? Like, which is, people. I could, in order to cover all the bases of what I mean by that, it like I would have to talk for like a long time. But
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the CCP
yeah,
is definitely involved in capitalism
yeah,
for sure.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, in a way, it's impossible not to be in this world. I mean, not in a way. It just kind of is impossible not to be in the world we live in because they don't have every resource available to them in their own country. But
Yeah.
still, obviously, can't be doing that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's wild though how like 'cause I was thinking about the relationship between order and chaos, as if that's not a new idea, but I was thinking about it in a new way for me the other day, kind of just like really picturing it as like um or like trying to visualize it in a way that's like both both order and chaos are unsustainable without the other.
Yeah. Well, that's yeah.
And I was talking to Cheyenne about it, and I'm talking about like picking an egg,
Yeah. Okay.
right? And I was thinking like order can only exist with chaos. Like chaos comes first, and then order needs to come into needs to like come into play after that.
Okay.
But she took it one step further and was like, no, because even chaos functions with by laws. And I was like, holy shit, that is some good shit right there. No, but I mean, straight up, like even chaos is order.
Okay. Elaborate
You know,
if you
like if you
will.
like you think about like for example the Big Bang,
Okay. Yeah.
and keep in mind to the folks watching at home, not an expert on this.
Yeah. Shout out to
Just think,
all our viewers, by the way. I know
just thinking and talking,
we
and I
got
think that's good.
several of them.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
7 followers,
dozens, but dozens doesn't
not
even
quite.
qualify yet.
7.
7.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, like yeah, like with the Big Bang, right? The all of the chaos that ensued after the Big Bang functioned under universal laws,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
physics,
Yeah.
straight up. And it's like, and then I was trying to take that into politics, you know, and kind of contemplate that a little bit, like it seems like every system is unstable. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's like a circle. You know, it's like
Oh yeah.
there's chaos, and then there's order, and then the order becomes like too orderly to the point where chaos needs to ensue again to create
Yeah.
a different order, and then like it's just cyclical like that forever.
It
So
is.
like to even contemplate. Sorry,
No.
just
Go
I was
ahead.
gonna finish
No.
this one
For
thing.
sure.
To even like contemplate like a perfect form of government is like irrational.
To contemplate it. I mean, I
Well,
think
not to contemplate it, but to be like there is one.
right to think that it's like I'm gonna yeah, exactly, there is one, and yeah, and it's even more absurd to think that for people to think that they know it, they know what it is.
Yeah.
Everybody else has been unable to figure it out, but now
Yeah.
So I mean, with that being said, I mean, obviously if people just cling to that completely, they won't even try anything because it's not going to be perfect, so what's even the point? But
Fair.
obviously that's not what we're saying, like,
Yeah.
and but with there's a couple things that I want to say. Hopefully I can put it well, but as first of all, as far as like the circle of like order and chaos, like you said, it's like with politics, it's like it just applies to everything. Even it's almost a law of nature in and of itself, with even like the cycle of eras of the history of Earth, you know what I mean? Like with
Yeah.
dinosaurs, and then they get wiped out, then there's
Yeah.
an ice age, and then that's a new long period of time. It's not like that lasted a little bit, like, and then new things come to rise to be the dominant force and things like that. I even actually, it's funny, I even have this like I was thinking one night, and I wrote this down on like a notepad thing on my computer, and I was like, it was the idea that like, and I'm not just going to keep talking about dinosaurs, but it just is funny because it reminded me of this. But like we tend to think of it like, oh, dinosaurs were here, and that was like prehistoric. You know what I mean? Like, and it was because they didn't write things down, obviously. Obviously,
Sadly.
and I don't. They didn't have the intelligence to. I believe. And everybody believes that. But like, with that being said, though, like, still at that time they were the dominant species, and if they, if anything was alive, which I don't believe it was, but if anything was alive to, hypothetically, imagine that, like, how would I write history, or how would I conceptualize time and our position in it? No one would have said, "Oh, well, this is pretty much prehistoric. This is nothing." Like, thousands of years from now, there's going to be human beings who are so advanced, who are building monumental things and, achieving incredible accomplishments. But the reason I bring it up is because that applies to why would humans, and the answer is arrogance and just like whatever, things like that. Why would humans think that they're any different? Why, like, we're just right now the dominant species of the planet, just now,
Yeah.
in our place in time. And, we've all heard this many times, like, the idea that humanity is like a blink of an eye in terms of the history of the world and stuff like of Earth.
Yes.
And, and it's just funny how, like, it all ties into like what we're also talking about, so I mean, I know we talk about this a lot, but with like the current order of organization of the economy, with capitalism and the way that the global trade works, and the way that we even think about infrastructure, and the way that we even think about production and consumption, and even agriculture and shipping logistics and anything, consumerism and everything, and advertising and entertainment and anything like that. Why can't we take a second and think, like, this is a blip in the history of a blip in the history of a little planet in a average solar system in a infinite universe, like, but people will die and kill to preserve capital interests, even though I don't think the individuals doing the killing and dying know for sure, like, necessarily know that that's what's really the driving force behind their involvement. But it's just insane when you think about it in any way like that.
That's always blown my mind, thinking about. And I mean, obviously it makes sense, we're human, so we have a human centric view of reality.
We're human
but
supremacists.
It's always straight up. But like, it's always blown my mind, like, why do we think we're so special? Why do we think we're so special? It's like, I remember thinking about this a lot when I was thinking about like religion and thinking about God, because it's like, why does he care about us exactly? Us, just us. It's only us. God created this galaxy and universe for us on this one planet, and I don't know, I have a hard time believing that.
Well, and also, no, sorry, excuse me, check yourself. It's not for us on this planet. It's for us who come from Western European descent, but some of them aren't quite the same. That's who it's for. Come on, like, let's be honest here.
It's just wild to, like, I don't know, where do you even start with that? Like,
I mean,
the way that people think blows my mind. Like, nonstop. It's just, I so often just want to be like, why are you thinking about that?
No, you're right.
It's like, where does that even factor? Like, we do all these mental gymnastics to just make ourselves feel comfortable in the world.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's all it is. Yeah.
Like, the amount of people who live day to day with only a very few things in mind, because, like, I mean, we're all like this. I'm not trying to be like I'm special, because I think a little bit deeper than the average person.
Sure.
Do I even? I don't even know if I do. But anyway, it seems to me that like
You talk
a
about
lot
it
of people,
though, so that's
yeah,
what.
a lot of people are going around their day-to-day life with very few things in mind, and most of the things in mind are, I feel like, at the end of the day, trivial.
Well, yeah. I mean, so in a lot of ways, it's it's relative because you know, and it's relative in multiple ways. Like based off their needs. Obviously,
Yeah,
someone might whatever, be like, oh, I don't really like this, I'm going to throw it in the garbage, like their food, throw it in the garbage.
yeah,
And other people might be like, and then there are people who have to, unfortunately go and eat food that, may have came from a garbage sometimes, unfortunately. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and like, and, it goes even beyond that. Just even if someone is just, more concerned with money, that, they might, it's a normal thing. Like, a lot of
I
people
know.
grow up in families where it's like you can't waste any food and things like that, and that comes from the background that it may have involved scarcity and things like that. So yeah, that's relative. And then on top of that, like, well, I don't know, I guess that kind of just sums it up. Anything else would just be repeating the same thing, kind of. But I mean, I guess I could,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought with that. I kind of went off onto something that I wasn't fully intending on, so I just lost my train of thought. But yeah.
Well, to be fair, like it's like this is something that we've kind of talked about before, especially on the podcast as well. But like, at any moment, if everyone just collectively decided that this is not the way that they want life to be anymore, life would be different.
Oh yeah,
That's kind of more what I'm talking about. It's
I
like
see. Okay.
it's like we are collectively agreeing to the terms set by unknown individuals, basically, and being like, yeah, you know what, I'm down to spend the majority of my income on housing.
Yeah, and it
You know what
feels
I
good
mean? And
to people.
yeah, yeah, and or like, oh yeah, $5 for a pickle. That sounds good. It's just like we feel so powerless, so we assume the position of the subservient. Like,
Yeah.
okay, all right, keep our head down and just we'll do the thing.
Right.
Although we don't want to die.
One of the examples that I always think about is like the idea that like think about everything that defines you as like you've successfully become an adult and you're doing the right thing. It's like
Capitalism.
it's all right. I'm out of high school. What do? Let me take on like I don't know 30 to 50,000, or even if you want to do it low end, 15 to $100,000 worth of debt so I can go to college. Then once I'm done with that, I'm gonna get a car, take on like $25,000 worth of debt if I buy a new one, whatever. Otherwise, let me get that money to buy a used one that's gonna end up costing me money. But at least I'm doing what I got to do. And then oh, I'm gonna buy a house and get married. Okay, spend like $20,000 on a wedding, spend at this point 500 to like $800,000 on a house. You know what I mean? It's just not possible at this point anymore, really. I mean, it's possible for some people somehow, but somehow, but like I don't know. It's just very convenient, and I mean it goes back. I mean it just goes back to taking America off the gold standard and replacing our. Have I talked about this on here before? Where
Debt system.
yeah, the debt and yeah,
I don't know. You can talk
where
about it quickly
okay,
again.
so okay, the gold standard went away, and so
FDR.
what's the or no Watergate. what's the guy's name?
Nixon.
Nixon. Yeah.
What I thought it was FDR that took away the gold.
I don't think so. No, I think it was Nixon.
Are you sure?
Uh, Can we pull that up? Just kidding. We don't have. There's
Yeah,
no. I'm alone.
I
in my
know.
room. But yeah. So yeah. Well, I don't know. I think I could be wrong, but I mean, anyway. But regardless, the idea is that like there's the gold standard. Okay, that's what backs the money. Okay, that goes away. What backs the money now? It's faith. You know what I mean? It's like faith that
Yeah,
that money is actually worth something. And what
yeah,
makes that money worth something? At the end of the day, the only thing absolute that is going to make that be worth something is the fact that the U.S. government will accept it as a payment for taxes, right? And then
yeah,
so there's that. And okay, but what's that? That's just like a portion of the money goes to taxes, all right? So what's really going to make you need to get more and more of that money? Like what's going to be the driving force behind you being like I got to make sure that I have this? And it's debt because without it, people would just say, "All right, I mean, I just have the money. I mean, okay." Like but no. So instead of saying, "Oh, an education which it's not like oh, let's try to educate people for less. It's been done for all of the time that colleges have existed where it
yeah,
wasn't, you know, 20 to $40,000 a semester or a year or whatever whatever some of these schools are now. And even private, even public schools like, you know, I mean, it could be $12,000 a year easily, you know, like stuff like that. And like you know, and over 4 years, you know, it's not attainable for a lot of people. But so locking them into that is the thing that drives people to keep waking up to the alarm clock, going in their car that they need to have because there's no public transportation in this country. I mean, there is, but it's like only in certain areas and it's very
major
shoddy
cities.
and yeah. And most
Yeah,
people don't have access to it. So I gotta have a car so I can go on the road and drive to my job and pay off my mortgage. And you do it, you feel good. Yeah, I'm paying off my mortgage. Yeah, it's great. It's like you're in like so much debt that like there's a chance you might not be able to pay it off in your lifetime if anything goes wrong. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
so that's what it is. It's like fear. You know what I mean? Because what is debt? I mean,
yeah,
it's the fear of losing everything and becoming homeless, basically, and becoming a poor
yeah.
person. It's just, and even poor people are in debt, obviously, you know, of course. Like,
Hmm.
so, you know, just becoming even worse off is really what I should say, you know?
Yeah, it's wild. And you set this like social standard of like, if you don't have this stuff, then you don't fit in to like
Yeah, that
the
too.
suburban lifestyle. So like you need at least 3 cars, maybe
Right.
four.
Yeah,
Maybe you need to get the new extension to the house.
right. That's where
So
it's
people are just
never
like
enough. Yeah.
keep do and like it's human nature really to like want to fit into the pack and like keep up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like people live
Yeah.
outside of their means, right? Isn't it? I feel like it's
Um,
human nature.
I just have a hard, I just like always hesitate about human nature because like I honestly believe that we don't really know what human nature is at this point because what we live in is not a natural human habitat or anything. We live in like a, you know, what is this? I mean, what is human nature? I mean, human nature might be, I don't know, you want to go collect nuts and berries and stuff. You know what I don't know. Like,
Well,
we
yeah, I
live
mean,
in,
I see
but
what you're saying, but
yeah,
but the way that we live now is created based off of ways that we have like inevitably acted to get us to this place. So theoretically, like the way that we are living is human nature. It's like we have collectively got ourselves here, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's like we did this.
yeah, I guess so. Because I guess you would have to say that the human nature for an individual, I guess, is different than human nature as a species. I
Yeah.
guess that's what I mean. Like an individual, people always say like human nature is competition and, you know, a cutthroat
Mm,
attitude and they want to climb to the top and, you know, they're willing to steal and they want to, you know, they're
I
willing
don't
to do
believe
whatever
that.
they got to do to get ahead and stuff like that. And people are
I think that's
naturally
mental.
evil.
That's
Yeah.
mental illness. That's mental illness.
I agree, and I think that mental illness, unfortunately, is called well, it doesn't have a name, but it's called like living in this society and just never thinking anything of it, you know, and just being
Well,
like,
no, I think the human nature aspect of it is trying to keep up with those people. You know, I
Okay.
think most
Yeah,
people
sure.
would be way happier to just chill out, but like they are constantly either like, you know, they grow up hearing it that they need to do that, you know, so then
Yeah.
they're like trying to appease their parents by like becoming a lawyer, you know, becoming a doctor. They need to do it. I don't know how
Yeah.
many doctors hate their job, but I would assume that plenty of them do.
Probably as many as hate any other job, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And like, so I don't know. It seems like human nature to me to like want to fit in,
I guess
generally
so, yeah.
speaking, fit in some capacity, be accepted by the pack.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, you know, splitting hairs here, but I do agree. Like, it's like most people alive today, almost all of them, naturally do feel without any like planning. They don't intend to do this. They just naturally end up caring about that stuff a lot. So in that way, I totally
Yeah,
agree. I just mean human nature as
yeah,
far as like a actual species of inhabitants of a planet. You know what I mean? I don't know what it would be like if instead of, you know, people doing an industrial revolution, people said, oh, we need to go back to the way things were. And maybe we would just be completely different. And we would say human nature is caring and it's about nurturing people. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
as long as there's
Well, that's
no
part. I think that's part of human
scarcity, you
nature
know
as
what I mean?
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is part of human nature as well. I think human nature is complex. I don't think it's just like
Yeah, yeah.
I know you're arguing against arguing against like the cutthroat specifically kind of
Yeah,
mindset
like the
that
rugged
people argue.
individualism. Yeah.
Yeah, and that to me is it's a product of human nature, but it's not human nature itself
Exactly.
necessarily. It's like the idea that the strong survive is true, but what strength is not defined.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, strength is sometimes it feels like strength is defined by the females of a species. You know, realistically, it's like if the strong survive, then the strong are the ones who mate, and you know.
Yeah.
So you know, there's even like species of like fish and stuff that use like subterfuge to like mate, and like that's cool. And or there's like you know those fucking birds that like put on the whole song and dance.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, pretty much every
You
bird,
know,
yeah.
yeah, but there's the ones what do they call it?
Peacocks? Oh, no, is it those like
No, the ones that like build the whole little fort and like bring all the colors. They make like a whole little beautiful thing.
Oh, I don't
And
think I even
then
know
they do
about
it. They do
those.
like a dance, and like the female birds come down and land, and they what are they fucking called?
Are they like they're colorful kind of and they kind of like I
They
mean
have
that's
colors.
kind of
They have like colors like
most
they're
birds
like
are
black
colorful,
with like
but
colors under their
yeah,
under
like
their
they
wings.
they,
They
they
like
do that thing where
spread
they
them out.
puff it up and like then it like there's
Yeah.
red feathers underneath the other feathers and stuff. I don't know if it's on their tail or their neck
Yeah.
or something. I think I know what you're talking about.
I watched
I think
the
I've seen David Attenborough narrate that.
yes.
Actually,
Yes,
was it
same.
literally that show on Netflix that's called like Life in
Living
Color or
color.
something? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think
It's in
we.
the.
Oh, I didn't even know you watched that, but I saw that. Yeah, so
I
I think I know what you're talking about.
my favorite thing to do is watch animal shows. I
I
love it.
time to time, I really do love that. Yeah.
It gives me such peace and makes me feel like, oh no, things make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You know,
I-
because really, like when you watch animals, well, when you watch an animal show and then you go to real life or you go to like another TV show
Yeah.
and it just feels the same,
Oh.
and you're like, oh, they're just doing stuff too. Like they're
Yeah.
just trying.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
it's like
exactly. They just don't even know that
Yeah.
they've been domesticated, like you said. They
Yeah,
don't know. That's the
exactly.
crazy thing. I wonder if actually, yeah, I wonder if like cows know that they're domesticated, or do they think like it's cow nature to want to get milked, or you know, that's
Well, if
that's
they're
kind of
born
I'm kind of
into
kidding, but sorry, go ahead.
yeah, if they're yeah, yeah.
I don't think cows want to get milked. I mean, they probably do because I think it's painful for them not to get milked. But yeah,
Yeah, well, they literally aren't they like bred specifically for that and like given like drugs to make it happen more.
and I think they're like forcibly inseminated so that they keep lactating and stuff. Yeah,
Yes,
so.
yes, and like
So there's a lot of stuff there.
their
but
nipples are like bloody and
probably
oozing.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know, but about that
I've heard this
specifically,
before, and
but
it's-
I don't doubt it. Yeah.
yeah. Factory farming, man, that's some good shit. That's important.
Yeah. I mean, you got to do it when you got to do it so that you can produce enough food to feed everybody in the world, but then throw away most of it.
Four
You
or
got to
five
do that.
times over, yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
good. It's a good thing. We all benefit from it. It breeds innovation. It's good. It's a good thing that
Yeah.
we throw away more food than and allow
This
people to starve. Just kidding,
the
obviously.
disease of overproduction and like scarcity mindset and like greed is just killing us, man. Killing
Of
us.
course, yeah. It
You
it,
know,
it
and
really is.
how I really wonder how some of these people really feel. Like, do they think that they're creating a stable environment that they will be able to maintain?
I like that
Or are they
question.
like,
Yeah.
it's just for our lifetime and then let someone else worry about it later?
I like that. Yeah, because I think about that too. And it's like, I don't know. I really don't. I don't know if these people actually think like, the fact that we have, or well, I won't even like say it for what it really is. I'll be as charitable as humanly possible and say, I wonder if they think, yes, even though in America we have a lot of excess, we're the most over the top country in history and we have the most excessive wealth and the big, like, we have huge, well, sorry, once again, I'm being charitable here. Let me not go down that path. Yeah, things aren't perfect in America, but
Yeah, there you go.
at least at least we have, the freedom to, make a few bucks and throw it in the stock market. And, you watch it grow, you work hard, you get a house, you get married, you have some children, you could have a beautiful life. And the fact that there's people in other parts of the world suffering, it's just because they haven't developed and America is great. And, that's why we're so many steps ahead and they're just trying to catch up. I actually, you know what? I bet some of these idiots actually think that that's just the way it is. And that's just, the reason why they haven't, been able to establish like, as much of a prosperous nation is just because, we figured out something that they couldn't figure out because we're so much better. I think that some people actually think that, but I mean, what is that? I mean, come on, what is that? I mean, that's just like what but I'm like saying it as though like, what is that? I don't even want to say it because it's bad, but people go around. It's like a normal thing you'll see on the news or TV or anything. Like it's just American exceptionalism and like ultra nationalism and just like this like insane pride for something you didn't build, something you had nothing to do with, but you just like are like, what makes you as an American like we figured out more than they could? What did you do? Like, you know what? I don't
Oh
know.
yeah,
There's so
Jesus.
much more to it, but it's like, but yeah, obviously the real, or do they say that's me being as charitable as possible, giving them the benefit
Yeah.
of the doubt, saying maybe they think that, or seriously, do they realize that it's like, I know a lot of people do, and I know, I say I know, but I mean, it's like, it seems obvious to me that a lot of people do realize that it's actually just, we are the United States. Patriotism is important. We must work and, try to benefit this nation. And, you know, we can't worry about these other countries and these other regions. And if they want to elect somebody that's going to, if they want to democratically elect a politician that's going to maybe hurt our economic interests, it's just downright patriotic to send in or to arm rebels or to start a coup against a elected government, or you know what I mean, like, and they just
Yeah.
know that that's what they're doing and they do it and they say this is good for us. And they maybe actually, I mean, where I can't wrap my head around is because all that's insanely fucked up and ridiculous, but like it's, like I said, I mean, I know that obviously people think that. I mean, look at the country. I mean, obviously they know that. It's on purpose. They know they're doing it. They're not blind to it. They don't actually think that first thing that I said. I'm just saying maybe some idiots in Congress, like some moron who like gets elected, like Marjorie Taylor Greene or whatever. It's like, or like, whatever. They actually think, actually no, they know what
I
they're
would
doing.
say that some politicians definitely get into politics thinking the first thing that you said.
Yeah, but I just can't. It just blows my mind that like some 65-year-old adult can actually think like it's good that we're doing that. It makes
Yeah.
sense. It's good, but they do. Some people do actually, and that's I don't know which is more fucked up. Being okay with that version or being okay with yeah, I know we're destroying these countries and we're like totally crippling them from growing or you know, if they even want to grow. That's another thing. I don't think well, in America this may be hard to fathom, but most people, and not saying I'm so elevated above people, I just mean like, you know, just
I
general
know.
like stuff that you hear
It's hard
people
to talk
talk about
about this.
randomly. Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
it's hard to
But
talk about this stuff without sounding like you're on a high horse.
right,
But
I
we're
don't
really trying not to be on a high horse.
no,
with this
I don't mean it like that. I
conversation.
just mean, yeah, like if anyone ever sees this, obviously I think that they're probably trying to I don't know, whatever.
think
Think about this kind of stuff. If they're listening to this, they probably want to hear what I'm saying, right? So, but anyway,
Yeah.
so it's like unless they're hate watching, which would be kind of fun too. But yeah,
That's
so
cool.
but
Leave a comment.
yeah, exactly. Tell me why I'm wrong. So
Yeah, please.
yeah, but yeah, no, but in like so what I was gonna say is I know it's might be hard for people to wrap their heads around this, but like not every single group of people in the world wants to live like America. I mean, far from it. Most countries don't, and maybe not most. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, most countries probably either don't. I don't know what the individual
Depends
people
on how
in
much
the
they
country.
know about the country.
Exactly. It's just, but there are smart people out there who are very capable and they are educated and stuff who say, "Hey, we don't need to have a foreign country. You know, we don't need to buy a bunch of plastic little toys from you know, China or whatever, like just because we, you know, America is like, oh, China's so evil, and which, you know, obviously, you know, there's terrible stuff, but yeah, like, and, but just people saying like, oh, China's so evil, but like everything that we buy is just some consumer good that it's crazy when you realize like you don't need like almost any of it. Like it's not like you don't need another little toy. You don't need another little. Hey man, but you got to keep that breath fresh. Let's
My
be
mom
honest.
sent that to me for Christmas.
Oh, is she trying to tell you
She
something?
sent she sent me some like stocking stuffers.
Did you have a little stinky breath when you visited her or something? No, I'm
Probably,
kidding. I'm
yeah.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Wouldn't be surprising. But I'm just thinking, you talk about consumer goods, and I just saw that on the desk, and it's just like, why do we have all this stuff around?
Right. No, exactly. That's why it's funny actually. As I was saying that, I'm like going like this. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's just I mean I don't even have that much stuff. I'm staring at an unfinished kitchen right now with like exposed sheetrock, but you know that's not you know that's just because but no but even with that being said that's only
There you
there
go.
it's fully functional, but it's the only reason why anything is going to be done to it is because even in my brain I have it in my head where it's like this is like bad kind of not that I think that daily, it's just like if my attention is drawn to it and I'm talking about it, it's like it's not supposed to be like that, but it's like it's just weird. Like why? I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm insulated. I'm warm. It's like probably like freezing right now maybe. I don't know. No, it's like 44 degrees. It's actually pretty hot out right now. So
I mean, it is interesting though. I mean, well, I think that it's pretty normal for people to want to live in like decently comfortable conditions, but like, I guess, yeah, what does comfortable mean?
right. What's decently comfortable? I'm sitting on a nice I got a blanket right here. I got,
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
The questions that we need to ask ourselves, I think, really is why are we doing it? Are we doing it for ourselves, or are we doing it because we want to appear a certain way to other people?
I think
You know,
when you break it down, it's because you want to appear a certain way, and
yeah,
it's for yourself
it depends.
also.
It
But
depends.
yeah. But
I
it's
think that I definitely think some people do some things because they want to seem like they're a person who does some things.
I could not agree more. And
Yeah.
I think okay, the way that okay, so you said, is it to appear a certain way or is it to do it? You know, are you doing it for yourself? And
Yeah.
even if I think this covers both, it's wanting to. Well, like it's a reaction to the way things are. You know what I mean? It's not even if you're doing it for yourself, I don't believe that it's like me in my truest, purest form. I really do desire to have that expensive watch or whatever. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
like I need to
No, I
have.
feel,
It's even if you feel like it's just for you. Like you're like I want to buy like something and I'm just gonna throw it in my room or in my man cave and I'm just gonna like enjoy it myself. Fuck it. I don't care what anyone else thinks. I That's still a reaction to the outside. Like you're not saying. I honestly believe it's like even if you're not like I want to be the guy who people see with the nice clothes or the nice accessories or whatever. You in your mind feel comfortable knowing that you're the guy who doesn't give a fuck about that, but you still got that shit. You know what I mean? Like in a way, maybe that's
it's yeah.
oversimplifying, but
I
like
know what you mean, but
yeah,
there's I get what you're saying, but there's no like you can't fully like disconnect yourself from the reality that you're living in.
of course, yeah, of
So
course,
so my question is more of like a moral question, or more of like a how does it feel to be a person versus like what you're actually doing? Because everything that everybody does is a response to their reality. So when I
right,
asked that
yeah,
before, it's like I feel like that's a question that like each individual should be asking themselves as often as possible.
yes, yeah,
You know, like why am I doing this? Am I doing this because I want to come off a certain way, or feel a certain way because in relation to things, or am I doing it because I am enjoying it? You know, that's kind of more
yeah.
where I was coming from, that question.
No, I totally, I understand. I'm just saying, like, when I say a reaction to the way things are or your environment or
Yeah,
whatever, I mean the way things are, like, forced upon you kind of thing. It's like, I
yeah,
don't think that if you lived in a different, if you were born 200 years ago, or if you were born
hmm
60 years ago, maybe even, like, you would not, I don't think it's the same. So it's just, I guess my point is more like, basically my point is tied into how much we're influenced by like just consumer culture and just like
yeah,
everything like that. Like I really believe that like an advanced race of humans or just an advanced species, a real true like advanced species would laugh at the idea of like, oh well, I bought whatever, I don't know, I can't think of an example. Like I had a perfectly functional jacket that keeps me completely warm, but I don't know, I really wanted to spend a huge amount of the resource that gives me food and gives other people food and gives people, comfort and security. I just decided to spend a huge chunk of it on another jacket because like I want to go around and I want to feel like people think I'm cool or something. Like I
yeah,
think a real advanced society would like think that that's so absurd. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and yeah, I agree. But it's yeah, I guess it's a very complex I think, like really when you think about it, because everything kind of leads back to some cultural association or something that's like being sold to you, some idea that's being sold to you. Every like even communism
yeah,
is being sold to you.
right.
You know, so if like is capitalism human nature?
No, I don't think so. Otherwise,
It's the exploitation of
99%
human
of people
nature.
wouldn't be excluded from it, basically, like,
It's the capitalist idea is a exploitation of a human's desire to fit into the culture at large. You
yeah,
know,
pretty much, yeah, exactly. It's not, that's, yeah, exactly. To me, that's why I mean, like,
but even well, sorry, go ahead.
just with human nature, I don't think, like, we can really assess what human nature is because you are, you have a TV in your house, most likely, pretty much everybody, like, most people, but in America. But, like, like, you even just watching TV shows and stuff like that, you see it. Like this stuff is like forced down your throat from day one, and like just the fact that there are commercials, the fact that commercials exist. Think about the fact that commercials even exist. It's
Yeah.
literally telling you, if I didn't tell you about this, you wouldn't have even thought about it. You wouldn't even be you would not even it wouldn't even be a thought in your mind. So I need to keep telling you about it so that you think you want it. You know what I mean? Like just any
Yeah.
advertising. I mean, it's just it's insane when you think about it in any well, I keep saying, like, if you think about it at all, like in any way, if you think about it, it's insane. But it's not. I mean, it's insane, but it's hard to see that when unless you wanna say, hey, what's going on here? You know what I mean? Like you said, like
Yeah.
saying, like, what is life? Like, what is this? Like, unless you do that, I don't think you're gonna randomly say, man, I just realized that everything about consumer culture is actually totally just serving people that are not the same as those who consume it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the people supporting it are totally at odds with the people that they are funneling their money to, and you get nothing from it except you get to feel like you're cool because TV, movies, media, pop culture, everything says that this is cool. This is what style is. This is what's important. This is what makes you be part of the cool people or part of the, you don't know what's going on. You're probably stupid. If you appear disheveled, you're probably stupid. You know what I mean? Like, that's just one part of it. But like
Yeah.
the whole thing, it's just you would never think to question it unless you like something made you say that. And I think that's why, they do they invest so much in trying to make sure that people don't know what's actually going on in other parts of the world. And if you do take a look at it, or even other parts of this country that are like, that don't have access to the same type of things that other parts do, like they just try to ignore it and like sweep it under the rug. And then if they can't, they just say, oh, well, these are terrible people. They deserve it, like,
Oh dear.
and then they vilify everything associated with people who don't have access to what you have, so that you think
Yeah.
like, oh, they don't have it because they're bad, and that makes me good because I'm not like them. Like,
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah, it's just crazy.
It's one of those things that's wild because like it truly feels like a conspiracy, but it's just things happening and
Right.
like and then like like just getting better at exploitation over time.
Yeah. No, you're right.
It's not a conspiracy. It's just
Well, technically it is. It's not a conspiracy theory that can be debunked. It's a conspiracy that is true. It's the powerful people of the world have conspired to. Well, you know what? No, you're right. I'm sorry. It's not like someone flipped a
like
switch one day and said, "We're taking over."
yeah, we're gonna
It's
do we're
just
gonna do
right.
this. Yeah,
You're right.
it's
You're
just
right.
like okay, like people buy into this idea. Okay, let's do that more. Or like we seem to make a lot of money when we do this. Let's do this more.
Right.
Or like we should show stuff like this and see what happens.
Right. When I say it's a conspiracy, I just mean it's people working together. But that's just we
Yeah.
don't call that a conspiracy when it's this. We just call it the economy, or
Life. It's just
yeah,
life.
that's just the way it is. That's just how it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
you just got to do it. I know it's not fair. I know
Right.
it's not fair, but you just have to go along with it.
I know every single person has questioned it at some point, and every human being. That's what I mean. Human nature. I find it hard to believe that every human being has not questioned at some point when they were little or whatever. Why is it like this? Like, why do people have to like wake up and go to work? Like, like, like I know I
Yeah.
did. I remember always thinking like, if everybody just complains about their job, like, why don't they just make good jobs that people like? Obviously, as a
Yeah.
kid, it's kind of like naive, but honestly, it's like the answer is because they're doing something that doesn't actually need to be done. It doesn't serve anybody except for the shareholders or whatever. You know what I mean? Like for
Depending
a
on the
lot of
job,
people,
yeah.
depending on the job, of
Yeah.
course, of course. But that's why
Yeah.
also, even guys who work with their, a lot of people who work with their hands, or people who are like, teachers or people who are, like you said, doctors or whatever. I know I said I'm sure they hate their job as much as anybody else, but I was kind of like, I'm sure they get
I'm
that
sure
same
some definitely
burnout.
do.
But
Yeah.
I think a person who works in retail, a higher percentage of them hate that compared to doctors. I would think. I'm just literally pulling that out of my ass. I'm just going with
Yeah,
my
but
gut here. But
I'm sure that there are plenty of doctors whose parents were pressury as hell, and
yeah.
they actually just wanted to write the next great American novel.
Oh, I completely
But now they
agree.
don't never have any time. They're
Right.
always they got debt to pay off. They got to go to work.
Right. So actually, you know what? When I say this, it's like, yeah, so but but with that being said, I think there are also people who, well, you know what? I don't know. I'm like not really qualified to talk about this because I mean I don't know what the qualification would be, but I mean, I guess reading like a survey or something like
You
that.
need to have debt that proves that you went to school in order for you to speak about this.
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. JSTOR is going to
the
block me
difference,
right
yeah.
here. Actually, that doesn't even make sense, but yeah, but because I'm not academically publishing that. They would only block it if it was deemed as academic research, then I wouldn't be allowed to talk about it unless it was behind a paywall. But yeah, so considering I don't have that, I can just say whatever I want, which makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. Let's let anyone. Well, I think people should be able to say whatever they want on YouTube or whatever. Not whatever, but mostly. That's a whole nother
No,
thing. But
I'm heavy freedom of speech. I think that people should be able to say what they want and make a fool of themselves if that's the case.
yeah, but it's just.
I don't think that people should be being censored because straight up, I mean, like if people are saying things that enough people disagree with, that they're a fool, let them say it.
Right, but it becomes an issue when people don't see it as like being a fool, and it kind of catches on in like certain circles and stuff like that, and becomes like
Yeah, but the thing is, then like it's interesting because like obviously but is there really anything that shouldn't be tried out a little
Yeah.
bit or investigated further? Like it's hard to know honestly because what why because why
because
it's like to say that. Well, go ahead.
well, I was gonna kind of make like a sarcastic comment, but if you were gonna say something actual, then not sarcastic in like a mean way towards you or anything like that. I like. What were you gonna say?
Here's the thing: it's like people are going to talk about quote unquote dangerous ideas anyway,
Right.
and to block them from speaking about them publicly is only going to not only reinforce the fact that people are afraid of that idea and then therefore reinforce that thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Like the powers that be are scared of this, so
Yeah.
that we must be onto something,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah, that's
So
fair.
that
Yeah,
I
for
feel
sure.
like in a big way it reinforces it, especially with the COVID stuff. Like
Yeah.
the people who have maybe some misguided ideas about COVID are having those ideas be heavily reinforced by the fact that social medias are blocking them from speaking
Yeah.
about it or whatever. They're like, see, there's a conspiracy. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
they blocked me. They blocked me. I said one thing, they blocked me. Whatever
You're
the
totally
fuck.
right in my opinion. Yeah.
So I just feel like the best case, the best route is just full freedom of speech. Let the good ideas win.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Right, but I just have see, letting the good ideas win. That's just not the world we live in when money comes into play, and power and money are tied together, and freedom and money are tied together, and whatever freedom. It's like a little different. That's more of like conceptual, like with being free from. Every time you turn on the TV, it's telling you, oh, this terrible thing that happened? Here's why it's actually good. And this terrible thing that is, or this good thing that happened somewhere, this is why we need to actually be scared of it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what do you do about that? It's just weird because freedom of speech, yeah, I agree. Some random guy should be allowed to say whatever the hell he wants. You know what I mean? Some random guy, go do it, whatever. Like, it's just weird when it's like, even saying this, like, it feels like I'm being a little too much. I don't feel like it's too much. It just feels like people might think it's too much to say, like, the news is just like state propaganda straight up. Like there's no difference. It's just that's exactly what it is. All the
Yeah.
things, there's 330 something million people in America, right? Or maybe even more now. I don't know. But like they and what do you hear about? You hear about nonsense all the time, and just how everything political is just, this is why this is not working and why it can never get done, and this is why these people are bad and we're actually good. Even though we can't do anything for you, this is why we're actually good. Once we defeat them, we're good. And by them, I mean half the country. All right,
Yeah.
that's great. What is that? It's so obvious. It's so obvious that once you like realize it, it's just so obvious that like it's no different than any other like thing that America vilifies as like a dictatorship or whatever. It's just in our country, it's not. They don't say, "Oh, this is our glorious." Well, they do sometimes, apparently. They don't, but for the most part, they don't say, "This is our glorious leader. He will bring us to a new, era of prosperity." They just say, "We're the country. The idea of the country is the greatest thing of all time." So no matter who's in charge, we're a great nation. Even though at any given moment, 50% of the country, which actually, so on election day, 50% of the country hates the leader, but then you fast forward a couple months and it's like 60% of the country hates him. You know what I mean? Like, so what is that? How is that a democracy? It's not a dictatorship of an individual. It's of an ideology and a system, which is more powerful than any one individual. So
Yeah.
that's why America stands strong while other governments, have turnover and, get overthrown and fall apart and stuff like that. And, obviously also because America's intervening and, just, shaking up geopolitical situations around the world. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I mean, America has the greatest propaganda machine
yeah,
that there has been.
yeah, exactly. When you see down to the fact, America has such a strong propaganda machine that even in like, you ever see, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a way to say it that's more funny, but what I mean is just, everybody knows America is the media.
Cultural.
Yeah, it's the cultural center of the world. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, of course, some places are outside of that or whatever, but like, I don't know. I feel like it creeps into pretty much everything. I've seen stuff online even. I know this is kind of just anecdotal and just kind of almost like a semi-joking side thing, but it's still, there's validity to it, I think. I've seen stuff of like tribal people living in jungles and they're wearing Nike t-shirts and stuff like that because they
Yeah.
just, it's just they were able to get it one way or the other, however it
Yeah.
was. I have no idea.
Donations.
Yeah,
or
maybe
stuff
donations.
like
Maybe
that,
they
yeah.
just like found it. I have no idea. But like
Washed up on the shore.
right, it could be. I don't know. Maybe they or whatever. I know with them they do like commerce. So like there was this one thing where they were like mining salt out of this thing and then they sell it in like a market thing and so they get money. Maybe they were able to like buy some clothing for the people. Whatever. I just have no idea. I'm totally just throwing stuff out there. But regardless, I mean, I'm just saying it's like that stuff is everywhere. Like I just don't know. Like even down to the fact that like I don't know, like just growing up in America and the way that things were, I know now it's different and it's like, you're not, it's offensive to say this stuff and if someone was saying this in this day and age, like I would find it to be like, "Whoa, what are you just why are you saying that? Like are you stupid or whatever?" But like back when we were younger, I don't know. I feel like the attitude amongst like the on TV and everything in movies, in TV, all media, and just you see it reflected in the people around you. It was like people who don't look and dress like a typical American white guy basically are like funny or like they're kind of like scary and funny and like they're pretty stupid and stuff like that. Like that's how it was in most things from what I've seen. Maybe not.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's exceptions, of course, but I just mean like, it used to be. I mean, there's a reason why so many people are giving backlash to the whole like political, people don't even call it political correctness now. Like, they said political correctness, then they said wokeness, and then, what do they even call it? And then social justice warriors, and like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And now they call it wokeness again, I think. I don't know. All it is just like, people do go too far sometimes. People go a little, maybe not too far. It's that they kind of miss the point, in my opinion, sometimes. But like a lot of the time, it seems like they miss the point and they just
Very
do some
frequently,
weird
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, but like, and by
It
weird
goes
stuff,
back
yeah.
to the question of why are you doing this? Why are you doing the things that you do? Truly.
Yeah, but what do you?
Kinda.
Well,
When it comes to when you're talking about political correctness and wokeness.
oh, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
even down. Do you mean down to the? Do you mean in the way where it's like, are you doing this to be like, I want to be the guy
Yeah.
who knows this stuff, or do you actually feel like I feel pain when these people are treated that way or talked about that way or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah. Is it a
Which is
mechanism of
it?
trying to
Yeah.
fit in, or is
Yeah.
it a mechanism of like, I've thought about this and I know how I feel about it, and this is how I feel about it? Or is it like parroting? Like, because I feel like I see that a lot. Like, it's like kind of like empty. I saw it a lot like whatever, 2 years ago when all of the protests started. I feel like you see a lot of that on social media and stuff where like,
Yeah.
remember when everyone posted like the black square?
That's the
On
first thing that
Instagram.
came to mind when you said that. Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of people that I feel like I know don't necessarily think about social justice issues very frequently. We're just right on that trend.
Yeah,
it's-
and sorry, go ahead. I'm not trying to interrupt you.
And I'm not trying to say like, don't try at all, but like, try.
Okay. Yeah, like,
If you're gonna try.
right. And correct me if I'm wrong, but what you mean is the black box is not trying. That's
You're
like,
not doing anything.
yeah. So yeah, I do agree. But with that being said, I'm not gonna sit here and act like, oh my God, be more like me or anything like that. No, like I'm not trying to say like, oh, basically I'm not saying this about people who do things like that because I think I'm better than them or that I have all the answers for them or anything like that. I just mean, yeah, it's something that I think is interesting to bring up and talk about. Because on one hand, I agree, it's a total, it's a non, it's counterproductive in my opinion. Pretty well, I guess I'm getting caught up with the way I want to say it because I don't really know how I feel about it 100% because there's different ways to look at it and they both exist at the same time. They're both true at the same time. It's not one or the other. On one hand, yeah, what does it do materially? Nothing. It does almost nothing. But, I guess you could say maybe someone who has never thought about this stuff might see that and then be like, what's this all about? Let me look into it. I guess that's the idea behind it. But I don't know. If you don't know that this stuff happens, if you don't know that, like, cops are, like, like, black people get, like, disproportionately killed by cops and, arrested more and get longer prison sentences and are more likely to be victims of police brutality and stuff. If you don't have any idea of that, I don't know. I don't know if you're going to be like, oh, the black box is what made me change, is what made me actually get
Yeah.
involved in real material change type, a situation that aims to bring about real material change. But, at the same time, it's better than, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. It's like I'm trying to. I feel like I'm almost trying to take it like too seriously. It's like I don't know. I just thought it was kind of like, it's kind of
Well,
silly. I don't know, but
yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying, but like, yeah, it's. I said this: if Joe Biden wins the election, the protests will stop, even though nothing has changed.
yeah,
And it feels like that's basically happened.
Yeah, well, yeah, but in So I agree. Yes, the protests have stopped in that way. The only thing is, so the only reason why I reacted like as if I was going to disagree is because the first thing that came to my mind was I remember other people would say, oh, well, once Joe Biden gets elected, COVID's going to be gone, the lockdowns are going to be over, everything's going to go back to normal, and it's going to be like this never happened because they wanted to
I
believe
just
that.
never thought that.
Right, and I know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, people. So yes, the protests have pretty much stopped. Well, I think they completely have, but like,
Yeah, there hasn't been one here in a while.
right. Oh yeah, you're in like the. Actually, yeah, you're pretty much in the center of it. So yeah, or well, not the center, but I know it was big over there.
It was very big, yeah.
Yeah. So with just like so with Biden getting elected, a lot of people were saying like, oh, COVID's going to be over, lockdowns are over, no more masks, it's going to all be gone. And actually, weirdly enough, that's kind of seeming to start happening a little bit now, but it wasn't instant. And also, the reason why I hesitated is just because, like, I don't think it has anything to do with Biden or Trump. I think it's just people. Well, I think it does have to do with it, but I think it's more like just people just getting, waiting for brighter days, and they don't come, and they don't come, and they don't come. So now you have like people going on strike and demanding unionization and demanding better contract negotiations from their unions, and just people refusing to work for certain wages, and people, like just actually
is true.
becoming more
That is true.
conscious of like class, the existence of classes. People are just gaining class consciousness, I feel like, like.
Yeah, but
and
I feel like that's a direct product of the COVID lockdowns, is that people saw their value once again when jobs were like begging them to come back.
I think you're right, and
You know,
yeah. No, I
that's
think
what
so.
I mean. They were like,
Yeah,
first off,
100%. Yeah.
first off, they got unemployment plus like a $600 or whatever check from the government during that, and they're like, oh, they'll just give this to me,
Yeah. Right.
and then their jobs are trying to get them back and paying them minimum wage or whatever,
Yeah.
and they're like, I can do better than that not working.
Right. And
So why are you gonna have me come in there and do this trivial task for
Yeah.
less money? No.
And then even people who don't make minimum wage typically, they were allowed to work from home for a year, at least months, right? And
Yeah.
or some people still work
Yeah,
from home.
at least a year.
Yeah.
Year. And yeah, it's definitely still going on.
And they know what they're doing more than their boss knows what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like there's a reason you're doing that job. You know what I mean? Like even
Yeah.
if your boss wants to act like he knows everything, guess what? He probably, whatever. Probably his kids probably hate him, and he, whatever. Maybe not, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah. He got that job because his dad used to work there.
maybe, yeah, maybe. And if not, he got it because he's the guy. When everybody else keeps it real a little bit, he is bitch made. You know what I'm saying? like it's just, I don't know, whatever. Not always, I guess, but when I say your boss, I mean, I'm saying like, if you got a freaking manager at McDonald's who's like some, guy trying to like get by, that's different than I'm talking about like more like a corporate guy working for some, you know what I mean? Whatever.
I knew what you were talking about.
Yeah. So, but, yeah, I don't know. I think people just, working from home and stuff like that, they see like, I know I can do this job from here. I've been doing it. You've been requiring me to work from home. This is a change in my life. I understand that it did, in fact, benefit me, but you didn't do this for me. You did it because you had to, okay? And now that I'm here doing this, I know that I'm getting the work done, and my life is better now because I don't have to commute an hour or two each way per day, 5 days a week, sitting in traffic or sitting in public transportation that's purposely underfunded and stuff like that, and just dealing with all that shit, and then having to worry about meal prepping or spending money on food or whatever, and I gotta wait for my lunch break before I'm allowed to do the most basic human function, aka eat, and stuff like that. Like, I can just do stuff that at my own pace. That's why I mean, like, you know your job better than other people do. You know what I'm saying? Like, for the most part. So especially if they're not doing your job. They're just telling you how to
Yeah.
do it. You know what I mean? But they don't
Yeah.
do it day in and day out. You do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So guess what? You know, and if it's working, guess what? If the company couldn't get by, they would be making big company changes or doing massive layoffs and stuff like that. And they did, but for different reasons. Like, you know what I mean? It's not because of a lack of productivity from individual workers because they're working from home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just so. Yeah, I think people are just realizing, like, oh, wait, I don't have to just be a slave to my boss for the rest of my life. And you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I just
And then
hope
plus,
that people keep that going because this is like
yeah.
a once in a generation opportunity, it feels like, like
Yeah.
to actually
And
do something, but it's going away. Like, I don't know. Like,
and plus the people who have like made livings for themselves during COVID as well. You know, people who have like started passion projects and gotten some success doing it and all this stuff. And like,
yeah.
there's just so many ways to make a living
Yeah.
that doesn't require you to spend majority of your time doing nothing somewhere you don't want to be.
Right, exactly. And
You
feeling and
know?
being told that this is what life is. By doing this, you're
Yeah.
actually better than other people.
Yeah.
Because
But you think about the people who like work from home, it's like their actual job probably takes over the course of the day like 2 or 3 hours.
Right. And
But they
even
have
if it
to, like,
takes
go
longer,
and be in
maybe
an
it takes
office for
4 hours.
Yeah.
Even if it takes 6 hours. There's a
Yeah.
massive difference between doing 6 hours of work, which is probably a stretch, let's be honest, for most jobs. Like, I mean, any job I've ever had, I was not working for 6 hours, or even if it was an 8-hour or longer shift, I was not doing work that whole time. But
Yeah.
for some reason, they feel the need to torture you with the fact of being like, oh, you're not, even though there's no work for you, you're not allowed to you're not allowed to eat when you want, you're not allowed to you gotta think about how often you pee. You gotta think about how often you drink water or go to fill up your water. If you feel a little, you just kind of want to stretch your legs, you gotta think about what you're doing here, buddy. Like,
Yeah.
it's like,
know, it's
what is
wild.
that? And I mean, people and whatever, and even, we've done it, have just accepted it in some capacity, or for most people, it's just, this is how it is. And if you question it, you're a goddamn commie bastard. Go fuck yourself and get out of my country for
Yeah.
wanting to question the things that make all of our lives worse. That makes you a
Right.
bad person. How is that not the most patriotic thing you can do? You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about here?
Right? Dude. I mean, this country was founded by revolutionaries, and the fact that we shun them so frequently is disappointing, to say the least.
Yeah. Yeah,
actually,
because
to
everybody
bring
knows. Sorry, go ahead.
To bring it back, well, no, you go, because I'm going to bring it back for a second.
Well, what I was going to say is, we all know that the founding fathers would have wanted, and I'm not a big, founding fathers guy or whatever, but like, we all know that the founding fathers that we uphold in this country, we prop them up as gods, basically, practically. No, well, the Lord Jesus is the only one and true God, but I'm sorry, I don't mean to be so like, I'm making it sound like I'm like so anti-religion and so anti this and that, but I'm just doing it for effect. But anyway, people like to act like the very people who talk about America and this is the greatest nation and, oh, we must uphold this Constitution, seem to also simultaneously believe that the founding fathers, those who started a revolution over a minor tax increase or lack of voter rights. Oh my God. Wow. Oh shit. Well, like, good thing we don't have that now,
Yeah,
stripping
thank
away
God.
of voter rights.
Ooh.
But like, just kidding, obviously. But yeah, like, people like to act like those very guys would have said, how dare you? Just accept the way things are and stop complaining or get the fuck out. They were the ones saying, we're gonna literally, if you don't do what we want, we'll just kill you all, or we'll die in the process trying. I'm not saying kill people,
Yeah.
obviously, by any stretch of the imagination. But, war, like, we'll go to war. And
The threat
like,
of violence is okay, I think.
no, I know. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that. I'm saying more like, do a massive strike across the nation amongst many financial sectors and industry things and just everything. Just as many people go on strike as humanly possible and organize beforehand with lawyers and security and go from there. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it sounds like a pretty good idea.
and that's just the most basic thing. I'm not saying I know how to fix the world or anything like that. I'm just saying, like,
Start a
I'm just,
revolution.
what I mean when I say that is,
Just a little bit.
wait, what? Start a little
Start it off
revolution.
with
Yeah, start
just
a
little bit.
workers' revolution. Why not? Yeah, mass protest. I mean, mass strike. That's it.
Yeah.
And, obviously people are going to try to cross picket lines and stuff, and police may be deployed. And I'm just saying, like,
Just hold your ground.
don't just go back and start working and just be like, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Oops. Like that's what I mean. And I'm not saying, this is all theoretical, and I'm just saying, like,
when the
I think that could be
landlord
something
comes
that
to
works.
kick you out of your home, when the landlord comes, just don't leave.
That's a damn right. In this situation, you know what I mean? Obviously, if your landlord kicks you out tomorrow, I mean, are you going to change the world by staying? I mean, I respect you if you try to do that, but
There are people who have started some stuff like that. There's a situation here that involves that.
oh really? Oh,
Get
just
into it, but
a
yeah.
large number of people. I was talking about an individual. Which, by the way, I mean, with that being said, like,
It was a
for people who
house
don't
that
know
was,
their rights, as a
they were
tenant, you have a lot of rights. So yeah, look into that before you just walk out. But anyway.
you have more rights where you are than here.
Oh yeah, I know New York has a lot, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there was like a house here where like people were gonna get evicted and it started the whole thing.
Good for them. I don't even
Yeah.
know what that thing is, but
Yeah.
do you know details or anything? Like,
Not enough to like really fully
yeah,
talk about
right.
it.
I got you.
I'm
That's what I
pretty sure
figured.
if you looked up like the Red House, I think that's what it is. You'll
Okay.
be able to find out some information on it. It's pretty interesting. I read about it a little bit.
Nice. Maybe we could look into it a little bit and then talk about it next time or something like that. That could be
Cool.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I'll send you something.
Awesome.
But I want to take it back for a second to
Yeah.
go pretty far back. So
Okay.
when I brought up the idea of do they know what they're doing? This is back.
Yeah.
And I liked where you went with it, but I was thinking even more so like, do they realize how unstable the system that they're creating is? Are they like constantly living in fear that like if we push a little bit
Yeah.
further, the whole thing's gonna collapse? We have to like really be careful not to push all the way to where we want to push it,
Yeah.
because people will be very upset. And it's like they're like towing this line constantly, because everyone's already like, you go like, I was at the supermarket the other day, and I was waiting.
You love
in
the
line.
supermarket, man.
I really do. I was waiting in line at like the guest service kind of area where they like sell cigarettes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was having a problem with the bottle return.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm waiting in line, and there's this woman standing there waiting in line too. And the man that works at the thing walks away for a second, and she starts having a very small like breakdown about it. She's like an older woman. She's like,
A customer,
oh
right?
my
Sorry.
god,
A customer?
customer, yeah, who's also waiting in line.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my god, like I have all the time in the world. Like I have all the time in the world to wait for this guy. And I'm like, I just don't respond to her because I'm like, you need to relax. But,
Right.
like, that's like where most people are all the time.
I know. I know.
You know, so like
That's scary.
These corporate figureheads and the people running this country, like they need to be. I think they're definitely aware of how close everybody is to just mass murder, basically. You know, like there's so many people who are walking around that like if you just say something to them, they'll explode.
No,
Their head will
absolutely.
explode. There'll be blood everywhere. It'll be nice.
Yeah. They'll have steam coming out of their ears.
Yeah.
Their head will
It
turn
feels
into a
like
steam
that.
engine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
It's wild, and it's like, yeah, because they feel constantly the crushing weight of time and reality pressing
That
on them.
is, oh man, like,
And then plus you have all of these like arbitrary requirements that you have to fulfill in order to be a good person
exactly.
or a
like,
successful person, and they're just like ready. They're ready to kill.
the fact that people think, and that's what I mean, like, we talk, there's so many people like that, I'm not trying to bring it back to this, but like, people, when we talk about human nature, like, there are so many people like that. You would think humans by nature are they are ready to blow up on their fellow human at any given moment. No,
Nice
in my
point.
opinion, no. It's a fake thing put in place, like time. I love the fact that you brought that up. I've been thinking about this lately. Like, even the way we think of time is, what is that? The universe doesn't know when it's 2:15 p.m. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
just, where is the Earth in space? You know what I mean? And that's it. I mean, and it's just, yeah, we as humans figured out a way to measure it, but how, something that makes me laugh sometimes nowadays, I'm kind of on a kick of thinking about things like this lately.
Hell yeah.
Like,
This is my favorite stuff.
like, okay, cool. So, like, thinking about like time, the way we think about it, how can we say that we're more advanced in the way that we think about that when, if you don't have a watch or a phone these days, a phone or, whatever, a clock or a watch, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't have that and you're just out there, how advanced are you? It's like people talk about, like, whatever. I don't mean it. I'm kind of, once again, I'm saying this for effect, but like people talk about like cyborgs or like human machine hybrids. And they think that that means that they're going to take out your heart and put a mechanical heart, or, or take out your brain and put a computer inside, or take out your hand and replace it with a robotic arm or something. You know what I mean? No.
Mhm.
Your phone is technology has become an extension of us as individuals and as a species for a long time, but individuals now, with the fact that technology is in all of our lives, at least in America and in a lot of parts of the world. Like the way, like, it's weird because on one hand, yeah, obviously we're the only, from what we know, and I do believe this, we're the only ones in history who have been able to come up with this type of technology. But at the same time, us as individuals are, what other thing, you know what I mean? Even a freaking, whatever, a little deer or something like that, as long as it has a mother there, it's, it has the chance of surviving, whatever. I don't know the mortality rates of the offspring or whatever, but, like, that's it. If you have that, you have
Mhm.
as much of a chance of survival as any other deer given in your climate and your area, whatever. But with us, it's like, you if you it's not even like you put someone in the middle of a desert, oh, figure it out, or put them in the woods or in a jungle. It's like you drop someone in, like, whatever, you drop someone in, like, I don't know, some random area in a city or whatever. You put someone, like, years ago, if you would have dropped me off like 2 miles away from your apartment, I wouldn't have been able to figure out where the hell I was. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if it was late out and the subways weren't running, I would just, like, have to. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a silly example. I'm just saying that to make fun of that
I know what you
aspect of it. But
mean.
I just mean in a very, like, serious, like, biological. Well, not biological, but more just like, as organisms inhabiting the earth. You know what I mean? We are incapable of navigating it. We're only capable of navigating the little thing that they put us in. Like, I'm picturing like a mouse walking through like a maze. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that, where we can do that, but we don't know. Most people don't even know what like north, south, east, and west is, like, as far as where they live or where they, like, where they are and stuff. They don't know. Most people don't. A lot of people don't know which way the sun comes up and which direction it sets in, and no one has a clue how to, like, feed themselves with the land and people. You know what I'm saying? Or like how to
It's
get
it's
water. Or, these are the most basic things. So how advanced are we? We just are domesticated.
yeah. It's truly interesting to think about, like, because I was thinking about this question while you were talking, like, does technology add or detract from our freedom? And it's like, it seems like to a point it adds freedom, and then at a certain point it feels like it starts detracting from freedom.
I was gonna
And it
say
feels like
it's
we're
both. So
at
yeah,
the
yeah.
at the yeah we're at the point now where a lot of, like, this, like, excess technology is seemingly taking away our autonomy.
Yeah, I agree.
And I completely associate autonomy and freedom to be the same thing.
I I can't think. I never thought of it in that exact way, but yeah, I can't think of any reason to say otherwise. Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that more and more people are unable to function in reality without the use of technology is a problem.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, I think that, it's like I really do not like to have to look at my phone for directions. You know,
Right.
I always try to go with like, look at the map, figure out what's going on, and then do the thing.
Yeah.
And like even that, it gets more and more difficult because then you're like, yeah, well, it's okay. I'll just check it again just to make sure I'm on going
Right.
to the right spot.
And even with
You know,
that, I
and-
mean, you're not navigating the natural habitat, but it's actually kind of weird because, and I think well, I don't want to change the subject right away, but like what I was going to say is like, it's like you're not navigating like nature, but it's weird because like
Yeah.
in the same breath, I'm saying we're just organisms on the planet, just like everything else. But okay, just the same way that bees pollinate plants and make honey and stuff like that, we
Yeah.
destroy nature and build skyscrapers and roads and
Do you
gas
think that
and
in
stuff.
some
Like, and
weird way we are like such like a really important function of the Earth somehow?
it's possible. It's possible that this is like, I don't know.
Supposed to happen?
You hear every myth and every ancient history and every ancient religion and everything ancient at all, and everything is about humanity rose to their peak and then went too far and then crashed and then had to start over. But we we remember the good parts, but we know the mistakes as well, and we're going to carry on in that way. And I'm not saying I don't have a strong opinion on whether or not, that's real or it's myth or it's based on something else or if it's pure religion or if it's a totally fake story or if it's literally like that did happen. I'm not saying, I keep saying like a lot of people like when I say humans were at their peak, I don't think that like we were talking about before. I don't think that buying a bunch of plastic little electronics where they last a couple years and then you have to buy a new one and in order to do that you got to work and then you got to pay somebody else for it and you care the simple fact that people care about like the way the things that they put on their feet look like that to some people that's their like personality, you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm above that. I care about that stuff too a little bit, you know what I mean? Like I totally care about it, you know? Like,
we all care about that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, but we need to think about the fact that we do. We need to be aware of the fact that we care about it. Yeah.
It's one thing to care about it. It's another thing to care about it and think like just default like this is the way it is. Like I said, I
Stop
think
assuming things are normal.
right. Yeah, exactly. Because in my opinion, they're very abnormal, and in reality, they're very abnormal. Like I said, like humanity is a blink of an eye in the history of the world. This post-industrial revolution shit, and even just like with like what would you even say? Like having advanced civilizations. Even like you want to talk about like I don't know. It's like what is this? Like what is this stuff? This is like a little flash in history, like so with that being said, I mean, who knows? Like we look down on like ancient cultures for using like carving into stone and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And like we view that as like, oh, they're like cavemen. Oh my god, they wrote their hieroglyphics in stone. Oh my god, how primitive. Well, 5,000, however, 5 to, depending on certain accounts, 14, 12, 10,000 years later, we still have access to that history and we can still interpret it to the best of our ability as we can today, whatever, you know what I mean? But like, and all that. If anything happens, we're fucked. Like all of, you know what I mean? Like what the paper is going to survive, the hard drives are going to survive. Like it's like this is kind of I
True.
sorry, I was going to say whatever. I'll say this last thing, like because this is kind of a silly little point, but I don't know. I read something online one time, or it was like some video or whatever, and it was talking about like, you know what like solar flares are with the sun, where like you know it has like a
Yep.
sort of like an explosion of gas or whatever it is.
That
I
it
don't
would
know the
completely
details.
wipe
Yeah,
everything.
if it went out, if there was a big enough one that went in the direction of Earth, where it wouldn't even, it doesn't even have to really be felt by people. I don't know. From what I understand, I'm kind of talking out my ass right here, but like fact check me and let me know in the comments down below. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But like,
Like and subscribe.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Just kidding. But no, in all seriousness, I don't know the exact details, but whatever. Like, but yeah, like the electromagnetism that would come out of that could just wipe every like
Yeah, all of
hard drive in the world. You know what I mean? Like, boom, everything's gone. All credit, all
Yeah.
debt, all everything that we view as sacred and holy. Oh my god!
Wikipedia.
Like, yeah, it's gone.
How are we gonna know stuff?
Yeah. How are we gonna know stuff exactly? But we look down on people for saying, and we look at like you know whatever. I'm kind of. This is kind of my more. This is the stuff that's a little more out there, but like. And it's not like I believe in this. I just think it's interesting and it's something to think about. You know, it's like with like Egypt and stuff like that. We talk about how, oh my God, they used to think the sun was a god. Oh my God, they used to think like the ocean is like a god. They used to think that like death is a god. Not maybe not exactly death, but like you know, like there's spirits of death and stuff like that. It's like, what if they just actually instead of worshiping a concept and just like a imagined, and I'm not saying you know anything against religion. I know I've been making those jokes a lot lately, but like you know I have nothing against that in an individual way. Organized religion imposing their will upon people, that's a different story. But like you know, but just we think it's totally normal to just be like, oh, there's a book, and they said that a man, basically a man, who is actually a god, just created all of us, and it's for us, and pretty much we're here it's just us and him, pretty much. That's pretty much what it is, and that's normal. But we think it's like so pathetic, not pathetic, but we think it's so naive to instead, you know, we use the word worship in school, at least we did. For me, in high school, they said like, oh my God, they worshipped the sun, they worshipped the moon, they worshipped this, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, what actually is going on? Without the sun, there is no life. So what is that? You know what I mean? What's more worthy? What do you think that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that people would say like God has created all of this, but like, and you know, I'm cool with that if you think that, and that's fine. I mean, I don't even know how I feel about it, but like, do you get where I'm going with this? Like
In the future, people are going to be saying, "Wow, that culture worshipped these like rectangles that they stared at all times, and they always propped them up on these nice stands or hung them on their wall."
well, in a way,
You know,
yeah. But
I mean, it's just like, what do we worship now? People
well, people
have
worship
a need.
God,
people-
you know,
well-
and Jesus and stuff. But.
Yeah, I would disagree. I would say some people do, but realistically, what they're actually worshiping is capitalism.
Oh well, yeah, of course. But they talk about
I mean,
their love for
commerce
Jesus.
Commerce is God in
Yeah.
our modern society, and that's the fucked up thing. It's like, and I mean, I think that like you gotta look at it. You gotta look at it, the whole thing. You know, you can't just be sitting there going like, because what does it mean to worship the sun? To have respect for it?
Right. That's what I'm getting at.
You know, it's
yeah,
like
that's what I'm getting at.
What's you know, it's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, of course they did.
Right. But maybe worship to them didn't mean like every single thing of my life is dictated by your will, son. Tell me what to do. Am I supposed to hate gay people? All right, I will.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
no, maybe that wasn't what they were talking about. Maybe they were just saying, let's never forget the importance of this, and let's, you know, pay, you know, just spiritual tribute to it by saying like, oh, thank you. I'm so thankful that this exists so that I can live and be happy and be here. You know what I mean? And eat, and it grows our food, and you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
the water, it's like, oh, I'm so thankful for it because when it happens, like we have something to drink and our food grows and we have, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like the rivers don't dry
Yeah.
out and things like that. And like when you talk about like death and stuff like that, it's like it's a fundamental part of reality. Like, you know what I mean? Like instead of looking at it as like every time anything or any human being dies that's in your family, basically, because I was going to say people freak out every time a human being dies, but that's actually not true. You can
It would be
just drop
insane.
bombs
I'd
on
be freaking
cities
out
and
all
then
the
people
time.
are like, hey, good job, boys. But
Yeah.
if like, someone, whatever, anything else, it's like, but, and that's fine. I understand that. I don't think there's anything wrong with feeling bad about an individual dying. I mean, that is so, I would feel the same way. I mean,
Regular.
I feel like
Very regular.
that's human nature. That's definitely
Yeah.
part of human nature for sure, and we all feel it.
Yeah.
But like, with that being said, it's like, why is that? Like, what you're just supposed to be miserable and be like, why? Instead of maybe you can actually, maybe other civilizations have said it's like no Lion King, but like it's the circle of life. You know what I mean? Like it's like their life exists, like their life happened and they were here and their memories live on, and as long as their memories carry on through stories and whatever, like they're basically immortal because their body is not their spirit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So here I am talking all this bad stuff about religion, but I'm open to ideas like that too. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, the thing
so
is, it's like
yeah.
we, as humans, have this unique ability to like really conceptualize things and like
Yeah.
come up with like frameworks in which to view life. And I think
Yeah.
that like part of the problem is that people kind of stop there at like whatever pre-given framework, they, and I think that like, and a very important duty as a person is to always be questioning that framework, because that's what everyone else has done.
Yeah.
It's like that's why we got here by going like, maybe that's not right. Let's try something else.
Right.
And I don't think that it's good for any person to just be like, yeah, this is how it is. And I know I know everything. I know it feels safe to feel like you know stuff,
Yeah.
but you don't know stuff.
Right.
I don't know stuff. You don't know stuff.
No.
And you don't know stuff.
Yep.
We know just a tiny bit of stuff.
Right. Exactly. That's
Yeah,
and
people walk around acting like they know all of the stuff.
they
And it's
do.
like, hey, you don't know that much stuff. And most of the stuff that you think that you know, later, you'll learn that it's wrong.
Right. Exactly. And if it's not, especially if it's something that you just think like, oh, I know this because that everybody knows that.
Yeah.
It's probably wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Especially when it comes to government and the way that things should be run.
yeah.
And the way that people should live and what life is about.
Right.
Not about having stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not about going to your job.
Yeah.
What's life about then? What's life about when you're naked in the woods?
Exactly. And I don't even mean it like, I know I keep making references to that, but I don't mean like my ideal society would be like, go back to like tribalism. I just mean like,
No.
just, this is so, I don't know how anyone, I mean, I do know how, but like, I remember being young and thinking, it's weird how like, it's not like I said, wow, the way that the government has worked with the auto industry to build roads and limit public transportation so that people are more incentivized to buy cars, and that creates a higher a difference in class system where like people with cars can move to suburbs and then be able to commute to their job, whereas people unable to afford it have to stay in inner city areas. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't thinking that. I'm just saying like I definitely did think like just if America, like everyone says America is the greatest. I've said this on the thing before, I'm pretty sure. Like everyone says like America is like, oh, it's freedom. It's the greatest country to ever exist and stuff. And I'm just like, what do you mean by like freedom? Like what what would you have to do to be like, oh, yeah, that country has less freedom? Like, I was a kid, I didn't really understand like the ideas of like religious oppression and stuff like that. But like at the end of the day, in America, it's like but I think that's what they love to do because like there's religious oppression in America, kinda. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, straight up, like they literally recently in like the past few years
How?
were like no Muslims allowed. Oh, yep.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, how do most people feel about Muslims?
Yeah, decades ago, during the war and during World War II, they were like, we need to go into Germany and Europe and Poland and France and liberate the people from those concentration camps. And in order to do that, we got to put Japanese people in concentration camps. That's the only way we could do it.
They might be dangerous.
Yeah, I'm not saying being Japanese is a religion, but I'm just saying like it's in the same vein of like oppression.
And this is the kind of shit that I'm talking about. Like I see it all the time now and in the past. It's like the thing that you hate and the thing that you're like trying to do is like it's like the same thing.
It seems
Almost
like that sometimes, yeah, a lot of the time.
Like I mean, like it's like
right. It's like, how would you actually change the government and like do like revolutionary action? There would have to be a lot of like media censorship, silencing the opposition. Like
straight up.
you'd have to imprison people for their beliefs, kind of. I mean, I'm not saying this is.
Yeah.
I'm just spitballing. I don't have like a clear-cut idea of like what it would look like or anything like that. I just have ideas that float around, and the whole reason why I like doing this
looked like in the past.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole reason I like doing stuff like this is because I hope to be able to find, be able to. A lot of the time, I think about this stuff, and that's why I seem unsure of myself sometimes because I think about this stuff alone. But when I say it out loud. This is the first time I'm saying it out loud to somebody most of the time. You know what I mean? Like when I just say it to you on here. So it's like, I don't know how it's going to come out. And I would like to engage with, obviously you, because I do, but other people too. That would be awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like,
completely agree. Because people who can add more than we can to this.
Yeah, I'm totally open to other opinions and stuff like that. It's like mine are not 100% concrete in every way, but yeah, like.
I mean, literally, all I'm ever saying is like, I don't know shit. Tell me something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
exactly.
Give me like, just don't tell me anything's 100% true because I don't believe you.
Right. Except for the fact that capitalism is evil. No, I'm just kidding. Even with that, I mean, I even say like, I don't even think capitalism is evil. I think maintaining capitalism and trying to act like it's the only, well, not trying to act like it, forcing people to participate in it and claiming that it's the only viable method is evil. But yeah.
Yeah. I think that like people just need to be a little braver.
Yeah, but
with
it's
like
hard.
Yeah, no, I know, but like the thing is, it's like we're so prone to like getting comfortable.
Of course, yeah, that's the whole reason why nothing changes in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Because like even
but we're comfortable with like hating our lives.
Yeah.
Like that's not good.
Oh god, it's so sad.
It's
and
like,
all I can do is laugh.
It's one thing to be comfortable with like a little bit of discomfort now and then.
Yeah,
sure.
of course.
Like everybody has to deal with shit they don't want to deal with.
Right.
Everybody has to find some way to do stuff in their life. But like there should be nobody that hates their life.
Dude,
if you hate your life, things need to change.
Okay. So we've been going for, sorry, like the reason I'm saying this is because either we can keep going and then end it, or do you want to take a break and then go a little bit longer than 2 hours, which we would normally do? Because actually we're not even.
How long?
It's been like, I would say we've been going for like an hour and 40 minutes, maybe.
I said, let's go. Can you go a little bit longer and then end it, or are you?
Yeah. No, I'm done.
Let's go.
Okay, so
let's go a little bit longer and then end it instead of taking a break.
So as far as, you said no one should hate their life. Like, I've been thinking about that recently. Like last week, I was like thinking about this. Like, the idea that like, okay, people just like being depressed and anxious and like unfulfilled, leading to substance abuse problems and
Yeah.
like things like this, and like just a lack of motivation, and like getting into just just going down the wrong path in general, as people say, like, or
Yeah.
but even if you want to just focus on the mental aspect of just hating your life, pretty much sum it up with that. Just obviously there's a lot of aspects to it, but yeah. As far as just like hating your life, you're right. I don't think anyone should. Obviously, I do believe that there is a such thing as mental health, and there's a such thing as
Yeah, but
yeah, all that, and
I
there's
don't.
treatments
That's a,
for it, and there's depression is real, and anxiety is real, and all this is
yeah, but those.
real.
I
But
feel like I feel like a lot of that is caused by society. A
I
lot of it is caused
exactly,
by yeah.
yeah, exactly,
I would say majority of mental health issues is caused by your environment and your upbringing and yeah, society at large.
right. And just I think this goes without saying, but like I'm not saying this from the point of view of like this is. I'll go toe to toe with anyone and say that this is the way it is. I'm just saying, just me as some random idiot sitting here talking to my friend, and whatever. It's like I do think like you think about it, and I just it just it's weird how people act like if you wait, hold on, let me get this straight. You mean to tell me that waking up when you don't want to, after you didn't get enough sleep, which is like necessary for your body to function, and then when you do that and you get up and then you commute to some place that you don't want to be at, but you're going to face potentially like life-threatening consequences if you don't go through the means of like losing your shelter or food or security or medicine access, you feel uncomfortable with that to an extent where it like interferes with your daily like your thoughts and like your daily functions. There's something wrong with you, man. Why don't you want to do that? Why is that not exciting to you to know that your boss is that like to know to just wake up every day knowing like it's just getting worse. It's just been getting worse my whole life. Like they said, oh, try in school and go to college and get good grades and you'll have a great life. And then you do it and you just can't even find an entry level job. And then you find a job and then you realize, oh, 8 hours, not Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, actually means Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, sometimes 8 to 6, sometimes 8 to 7, and no extra, no overtime, and like also like, yeah, I'm gonna need you to be available Saturday, and hey, I know you told me that you needed off on this day, but look, we're looking short, so you're gonna have to come in. If you're not happy about that and you don't feel free and fulfilled by doing that, when the task you're doing, like you said, like we say, like the work that you're doing, which is the expression of you in a material way onto the world, is putting data into a spreadsheet or like
Yeah.
checking people's, doing payroll or something, like, or, selling cars, like that doesn't make you feel like a fulfilled human being. Like there's something
Yeah.
wrong with you, clearly,
Yeah. The fact that majority of people spend majority of their time doing something they hate to just simply continue living,
Right.
that's not good.
And it makes you wonder. I mean, that's what I mean. That's why I get to the point of like, it really does make you wonder. Like, once again, I'm not saying anything like go into the woods and start hunting. I mean, I'm just saying like
But like that would be like a direct. That's the thing, it's like there's nothing wrong with hard work for survival's sake. It's
yeah,
very natural and makes so much sense. But when you're not when everything has become abstracted to the point where like you're like I need to type this thing down, otherwise I don't live.
yeah.
Things get fucked up.
No, you're
like really
so
quickly.
right.
We either need to admit the fact that we live in a modern society now and we do not need to be spending all of our time making sure that we can continue living, or we need to go back to where we work for ourselves. All of us work for ourselves. We grow our own food, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We all have communes, or
No,
we,
right.
we live, or we live in like small cities where people come together to function as a whole. The way the dissociation between work and person, it's not good.
Absolutely. And
People are very
yeah.
confused.
I couldn't agree more. And even just like this concept was like something that I was like, I feel strongly about this in my mind, but just even now, the way you just said that makes me, it like reinforce the way I think of it by like letting me see it in like a slightly different way that I hadn't thought of it exactly that way before. So yeah, it's like, that's why I like talking to you about this stuff. Like, and you're right. Like, it's not about, I'm not saying, I mean, I don't know, but I'm not saying like literally live in tiny villages with like, a little garden in the back and like, you send the kids out to go collect berries in the morning. Like, I'm not saying that. I mean, would that be technically probably more fulfilling for the average human? Honestly,
Yes.
probably,
100%,
But
100% yes.
Yeah, but, and I agree. I'm just, I don't want to sound totally nuts, but yeah. But what I mean is more like we have the technology to do everything that we do now. Everything that we do right now, we have the technology for that and we can do it. So remove the insane consumerism and just industries that exist solely for the purpose of generating more wealth for individuals and firms and whatever, which basically means groups of individuals that are separate from normal society as a whole, and or like, so get rid of that and instead use the infrastructure and the technology that we have to make it so that just the point of life is to live your life and be, you're not going to starve. Yeah, if you want to do something where you like go collect food from like the forest, do it. You're free to do it, but don't worry because you're also going to have access to food no matter what. You're not going to starve to death. That would be insane. You know what I mean? But in our world, we think we're advanced, but people starve to death all the time. You know what I mean? But you could just not. You just could not. You could just choose not to do that. But not individuals. But I mean, the people in power could just say, you know what? I think people starve. I think it's better for a couple, for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people to starve to death over the course of however many years, that's more important to make sure that doesn't happen than it is to make sure that, this is the most obvious thing in the world, but to make sure that we see growth this quarter or whatever, wow, I really like what you did by reducing the amount that we ship out to these areas, we really save on our bottom line and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Or like,
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, like,
I mean, that's literally where I started the episode with the quote from the manifesto.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Fucking people need to eat, and it's just not a good look, man. It's just not
disgraceful.
A good look for a country as supposedly powerful as ours.
Right. It's like embarrassing.
People are literally like living hand to mouth and working for Amazon, trying to make sure that those packages get there on time.
Exactly.
Because somebody else who is literally living on the edge of a knife is going to freak out if they don't get their package on the day that it said it was going to be delivered.
Right.
And they're living on the edge of a knife because they feel the pressures of reality on them.
Exactly.
They have to go to their fucking job that they don't want to fucking go to, and they just want their thing. They need the thing.
Yeah. No, I really believe that in the future, I'm talking, I don't know how long in the future, it could be 100 years or more, but I think in the future, well, to say this, I think it would be pretty far out there, if it ever even happens, because we might destroy ourselves first. But if humanity does go on for hundreds of years, I think there will be the history of our time will be written as like it'll be interpreted as like, can you believe they let millions of people starve to death while they threw food in dumpsters because it wasn't cost effective to ship it to them. And can you believe that people committed suicide and they would rob and kill each other because even though everything was there to make every human being comfortable to an extent, help them survive with some dignity, even though it was there, they, 7 billion people sat there and watched like a handful of people just control it all, and they actually convinced those who control it actually convinced 7 billion people, no, this is just the way it is. You got to accept that. Come on. What? Wait, you have a problem with this? What, are you unhappy? Wow, you have a mental health problem. You're crazy. You're a crazy person. You're a criminal. You're a criminal if you think you deserve this. Like, it's gonna be. It's either gonna be that, or it's gonna be when when the fucking whatever. I don't want to say too many weird things, but when the United States of America, they'll be saying, how did it happen? Never forget, never let it happen again. Oh. And if the world doesn't get destroyed by nuclear weapons by that point, when America goes on some kind of genocidal rampage because it's actually good for us if we do this. Yeah. Which they do now, but yeah.
Yeah.
They just say, no, we didn't do it. We just gave them the weapons and the money to do it. Like,
Yeah.
but it wasn't us.
Jesus Christ. I mean, what does the future hold? Honestly, unless policies are made to prevent like extreme exploitation from happening, which is currently happening.
Yeah.
The American empire will collapse very soon. Probably within our lifetime.
It feels possible for sure. It feels inevitable at this point. I mean, it like America as we know it. I don't see how this can last longer. I mean, it's either going to go one way or the other.
America, as I knew it, is already gone.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, which is not even. I mean, people talk about like accelerationism, like make it as bad as possible so that it collapses quicker. It's like I'm not someone who believes in that, but like. It kind of is happening on its own. I mean, I don't know how much faster you can go to your own demise, than what we're doing now. I mean,
I was going to say before, like, talking about, like, the people in power, the abstract leaders of this. It's like, I'm not surprised if some of them are just straight up agents of chaos that are like, let's just see. Let's see.
Yeah.
What happens if we push it a little bit further?
I'm sure there's some psychos. I mean, I'm sure actually they have to be. I mean, just look at the actions of the U.S. military. That is psychotic behavior. That you have to be like. I mean, I know it's like a common thing that people say, but it's like you send someone to jail for like 20 years for doing like a robbery so that they can steal money from like, or they steal like. You know what I mean? I know it's not right, and I would be, I would be singing a different tune if someone held a gun to me. But
they broke into a store that was insured.
Right, exactly.
They stole stuff from CVS that is heavily insured, but now they're in jail.
You're in jail, and your life is you're never gonna get the opportunities that other people get. But if you just blow up a couple hospitals, kill a couple thousand kids, kill a couple 100,000 kids. Hey, I mean, here's a medal from the president or something.
Matt, they had weapons of mass destruction. Okay.
Of course they did. Everyone knows that. Even the people who then turned around and said, "Oh, well, actually, I don't know. Someone told me they did. I never really knew. I just went in front of the UN and told them they did." R.I.P. Colin Powell. What's up?
Hey, boy.
I'm just kidding. It's like. I don't know, but that's what he said.
Now, man, with the stuff that's going on nowadays, it's like it's inevitable that the truth is going to come out. And whether it's 10 years from now or 5 years from now, it's going to become quite obvious what's going on right now.
I guess so. But the real question is, will people be receptive to it, or will they just be like, "Whoa, that's crazy"? damn, yo, you see that new iPhone? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean that'll be most likely what the case is, but that's why I mean the most dangerous thing that you can do is be complacent.
yeah,
So I feel for all you folks out there in the world.
we're part of it, and I feel for myself.
Straight up.
I feel for you, and I'm me, and yeah.
Yeah. It's just it's tough out here.
Yep.
But I really think the best thing you can do is just try to keep an open mind and keep questioning as much stuff as you possibly can, because like that's our strength as humans.
Yeah, that at the very least, even there's a lot of established, quote unquote, established ideas out there that kind of seem to have some legs to them and stuff like that. But yeah, for most people, yeah, for just in general, if you don't question things, you're just gonna say, "Oh, really? Oh, I guess there's a cabal out there that's actually a trafficking ring that's going to do these things and blah 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 and JFK's getting resurrected and but then again that also comes from questioning things, but so it's
That's a whole nother fucking thing.
It's
But is it questioning things though? Because I feel like if they questioned it for a second,
it's almost like the answer to people's problems is not just one thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just question things. And I'm not saying that's what you were trying to say, but that's just an important part of it, of course. But also, like,
well, no, but when I say question things, I don't mean.
Of course, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Just take the second answer.
Of course, exactly. That's what. Don't
go like, I don't know if I believe this. But what about this? Okay, I'll believe.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if I believe that, like, the U.S. government is actually just like an armed force of capital owners, basically, and a power system that like maintains the status quo. It can't be that. It's gotta be a satanic cult. Yes. That's what it is. Maybe you move past that and say, let me think about something that actually makes like a little sense. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Yeah. So I know you meant that. It's just funny because it's like.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, yeah, really think about stuff. Like, take in as much information as you can before you start acting like you know what's happening.
Right. And scrolling through.
I don't know what's happening. Nobody knows what's happening. Right. We're just going around.
And scrolling on Facebook while on the toilet doesn't mean you're doing historical research or whatever. But yeah. Which is part of the JFK resurrection plot. So that's what I mean by that.
I know. It's so difficult, honestly, to like talk about stuff like this and not feel like I'm preaching.
I know. That's why I keep kind of playing devil's advocate a little here. I agree with everything you're saying, but I'm just like, damn, there's so many crazy things out there that I'm like, what about this psychotic thing? What about this psychotic thing?
Yeah. It's like, I know for a fact that I don't know.
Yeah, anything. Exactly. Yeah.
True.
Right.
But I'm just out here talking, and I think that like, do this. Everyone needs to just be doing this all the time. Really talking. Talk to people that you don't agree with.
I hope you don't. Damn. If you don't agree with us, talk to us. Yeah. Come on. It would be fun, and not in a confrontational way. I don't mean like, come at me, bro. No. I'm gonna like destroy you in the marketplace of ideas. No, I mean like, let's. I don't know. What are you thinking about? Let's talk.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, that's human nature.
I agree. I mean, it seems natural to me.
That's why everyone like loves podcasts nowadays. It's like the oral tradition is ingrained in our psyche. It's like we want to hear people talking about stuff that seems important.
Yeah, I have no reason to believe that's not true. It seems true to me.
Yeah.
Well, you just I don't know. You good to wrap it up?
Yeah. We don't want to make it too long. We don't want people never to watch it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was actually like a lot of fun. I enjoyed that a lot. So it's usually fun, but that was extra fun. Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed this one.
Awesome.
All right. Well, if anyone sees this, we will be back next week on Wednesday at approximately 6:00. If you want, you can
6 PST.
Follow us on
9 EST.
Oh yeah, 6 Eastern.
Or
9 Eastern.
Yeah, 9 You want to do 9:30? We start like different
Yeah.
times. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say if you wanna follow the Pinemen on Instagram, I'll post when we're gonna
Okay.
be
There we
live.
go. Yeah. What's that?
So
What's
if
that
you see
tag?
this and the Pinemen,
Simply the Pinemen. There we go.
yeah, the underscore Pinemen.
On Twitch, it's the underscore Pinemen. What-
Yeah, I think on Instagram it's the same.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, if you enjoy it, please like and subscribe. It
Yeah, it would just be fun. Be a part of it. That's really,
Yeah. Join us.
yeah, get involved. It would be fun for all of us. you
Yeah.
know? All right.
We're
Well,
lonely, just like all of you.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Let's get through this together, man. It's not easy out here.
Straight up.
So, all right. Well, it's been a blast,
All right.
and
Absolutely.
peace out.
Thanks for coming.
This is the Pinemen.